Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Swaggin' on the Swagger Gaming, bringing you another World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth beta first look video. Today we'll be looking at the Frost Mage. Please remember that everything in this video is from the beta test server and is subject to change. I will do my best to keep up with any changes made to the spec in the description and comment sections of this video. The Frost Mage has not had much change from Legion, and what was changed was fairly minor, meaning if you like your Frost Mage now, you'll most likely enjoy it in Battle for Azeroth. The only baseline spell that was removed from the Frost Mage spellbook is the passive ability that gives your Water Elemental the Water Jet ability. The Water Elemental has had its cooldown reduced from 1 minute to 30 seconds, and its freeze ability no longer grants Fingers of Frost charges. Fingers of Frost was slightly tweaked, and now has a 15% proc chance on Frostbolt and a 10% proc chance on Frozen Orb, instead of a 12% proc chance on both. Brain Freeze had its proc chance increased from 15 to 25%, and Polymorph has had its CC duration increased from 50 seconds to 1 minute. The amount of absorption from Ice Barrier is now based on your health pool rather than spell power and versatility, and Blizzard damage now reduces the cooldown on Frozen Orb by 1 second, up from half a second on live Legion servers. 2 new utility spells were added back to the Mage Kit. Remove Curse does exactly what it sounds like and removes all curses from a target. This costs 1.3% of base mana and has an 8-second cooldown. Arcane Intellect increases the intellect of all party and raid members by 10% for 1 hour for a 4% base mana cost. Lastly, our mastery was tweaked as well. Icicle damage is now based on spell power rather than damage done, and it now increases your Frozen Orb damage instead of Water Elemental damage. Just like the general abilities, the talent tree has not seen much change. Tiers 3 and 5 were completely untouched. These include Mirror Image, Rune of Power, Incanter's Flow, Frigid Winds, Ring of Frost, and Ice Ward. The Tier 1 talent row has had Ray of Frost moved out and replaced by Ice Nova from Tier 4. Only Winter and Bone Chilling remain, but all 3 talents in this tier have been slightly tweaked. Ice Nova has had its primary damage target ratio changed to be 4-1 rather than 2-1 on live. I have not looked enough at the actual damage of this ability to see whether this is a boost to primary target damage or a nerf to secondary target damage. Lonely Winter has had its damage increase nerfed from 25% to 20%, and it no longer includes Frozen Orb. Bone Chilling now only stacks to 10, down from 12, but has had its damage bonus increased from 0.5 to 1% per stack. Its bonus damage type has also been changed from Frost damage to Spell damage. For Tier 2, Shimmer has had its recharge time increased from 15 to 20 seconds, but Ice Flows and Glacial Insulation remain unchanged. Tier 4 had Ice Nova and Splitting Ice both moved out and replaced by brand new talents. Frozen Touch remains and was changed from 40% increased Fingers of Frost proc chance to 20% increased proc chance on both Fingers of Frost and Brain Freeze. Ebon Bolt is the first new talent in this tier and was pulled from the artifact weapon. This is a 2.5 second cast on a 45 second cooldown and launches a bolt of ice dealing frost damage and granting Brain Freeze. The last talent in Tier 4 is Chain Reaction. This makes your Ice Lances against frozen targets increase the damage of your Ice Lances by 3% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Tier 6 is that all 3 current talents removed from the game, Splitting Ice moved in from Tier 4, Comet Storm moved in from Tier 7, and a new talent added into the last slot. Comet Storm was unchanged, and Splitting Ice now includes Ebon Bolt, but is otherwise the same. Freezing Rain is the new talent in this row, and it gives your Frozen Orb the power to make Blizzard instant cast and increase its damage done by 35% for 12 seconds. Tier 7 still has both Thermal Void and Glacial Spike, which are unchanged, and has had Ray of Frost moved in from Tier 1 to replace Comet Storm. Ray of Frost was tweaked and is now a 5-second channel, down from 10, on a 1.25 minute cooldown, up from 60 seconds. It now also has a 60% slow and generates 2 charge of Fingers of Frost over its duration. Each time it deals damage, the damage and slow are increased by 10%. This is currently 20% damage increased on Legion. As previously stated, there were not many changes to the Frost Mage, and the changes that were made were typically minor tweaks. There were some cool new talents added that can affect your playstyle, but overall the Frost Mage is playing almost exactly like it does on live Legion servers. I am interested to see if players end up going with the Water Elemental or taking Lonely Winter. Seems like Blizzard has nerfed the Water Elemental a bit, taking away Water Jet and removing its damage buff from Mastery, but Lonely Winter has seen a nerf as well. But what do you all think? Are you happy with how your Frost Mage plays now and excited that you get to continue it into another expansion? Or would you have liked to see more changes? If you liked this video, please think about hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel for more gaming content. Thanks for watching and have a great one.